Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crack in Time. We got Titanic, No Way Out. But unfortunately, right now, I am having technical difficulties because the site that I usually use is just refusing to search this fucking show for me. Even though I know it's on it, and there's no other, I can't figure out any other way of getting it. There you go. There's another error. It's just telling me there's an error on this site all the time. I'm refreshing it as I'm told to do, and it's not working. Still not working. So I don't know how we're going to do this because I can't watch it on my computer, unfortunately, because the sound will come through. And I don't know how I'm going to do this now because I can't get it anywhere else. Not on my PlayStation anyway. But we'll bring on our co-host. It's the one and only Real Super Doctor. Welcome back.
Hey Noel, how you doing now?
Not too bad. Still not getting anywhere.
Just keep refreshing it.
I've tried, man. I've refreshed it about 15 times there. There's only so many times you can. It says go back to home page. So I'll do that. Right, we'll go back to home page. Close window. Right there. Back to the home page. Back to Suicide Squad. Right. Don't give a crap about that. It's Titanic I want.
Just type in Titanic. Can you type
That's
in?
what I've done. It's not coming up. It's not coming up.
Type in Toby Jones.
Actually,
see what comes up.
Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Type in his name.
Yeah.
Alright, if I don't get this, we'll just have to go. Jesus Christ, this thing's taking forever.
Yeah. Sometimes that does that with me, and I've got to refresh it. Sometimes that does that with me, and I've got to refresh it. I like the sound of my voice.
That was funny. No, do you have a Fire Stick? If so, add the internet app and use it on the link. Jesus. Chris. You're talking to me that can't even fucking screenshot properly. And you're telling me to go and get a Fire Stick and do this, that, and the other. You know you're talking to someone that's literally a boomer. But I'm not a boomer. I was obviously born. Right, so I'll put in Toby Jones, and I'm getting all of this Indiana Jones shit.
I put in Toby Jones and go scroll down to the bottom. It's how daft these search engines are.
So you said put in Toby Jones and scroll down, but what page?
It says Toby Jones is his movies.
Right, yeah, but you said scroll down to the end.
Yeah.
But what page? Because there's literally loads of pages here. I've got 9 pages.
It's just only given me 2 pages.
I've put in Toby Jones and it's given me fucking over 5 pages. Right, hold on. I'll have to go through these one by one, folks. You'll have to wait for a second. But we're on the scent because I see a Toby Jones thing there called Marvelous. So we're on the right scent. So just give us a few minutes. Sure, I'll give you guys a chance now to get a cup of tea or whatever you need to get. All right, let me see. There it is. There it is.
You get it?
There it is. Yeah, but watch. I guarantee it's going to tell me there's an error. Watch. Watch. I can't believe it only got a 6 on this.
Or 6?
Yeah, the rating, it got a 6 on this app. Got a 6. Right, we're on the second last episode. No way out. There we go. I have it. Right. Hopefully it doesn't refresh there and stuff. So it's grand. I have it now, folks. It's all good. It's all good. So if everybody in the chat is ready, just let us know, and we'll get going on this. So if everybody in the chat is ready, please press 1. Even if you're not watching it, just press 1 in the chat so we know that we can go. So we got Chris with a 1. I'm just here to protect the chat. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just press 1 anyway. As I said, if you're here, even though you're not watching it, press 1 so we know that we can go. Renee has also pressed 1. Daniel's pressed a load of 1s just to make
Right.
the point right across. Thank you. So what I'll do is I'll remove myself off YouTube now because the lads are in there. So without further ado, hold on. No, actually, hold on. Wait, I better get into the episode first.
Yeah.
Right. John, whenever you're ready, do the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And here we go. Oh, it's decided to. Oh, there we go. Okay.
I love
Previously
the
on
exterior.
Titanic.
I love the exterior shots of the Titanic there. Oh,
Yeah.
just look at it sailing as well.
I know. Jenna Coleman's in this. So if there's any Jenna Coleman fans out there, I know one in the chat in particular is a Jenna Coleman fan. Wink, wink, Daniel.
The drama in this is quite good.
It
I
is.
have to say that.
Next week is the finale.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
See the music to this. I mean, the music's really epic.
It is.
I mean, it's very chilling as well because you know what really happens in Titanic, but the storyline, it takes you right into it, even though it's complicated from one point and one angle that
I get it, and it does repeat a lot of scenes as well.
Yeah.
This series, but what I like
Yeah.
about it is that after every episode, they
Yeah.
add more to those scenes, so you can kind of see the way he did it. He's building it up, so you
Yeah.
know all the characters, and I think that's a good way of doing it. It's very clever. This is the
Yeah.
Churchill one now. So
Yeah.
Marty was asking us, when is the Churchill one on? This is the Churchill one. There he is.
Winston Churchill.
So that's Marty, who does be on the chat. That's his uncle in this.
Yeah. Wow.
So this was obviously before he had his speech impediment.
Yeah.
Either that, or his uncle was told not to do that.
So he's escaping from prison.
Hmm. Toby Jones is a great actor. He is. He
Yeah.
is. They're all very good in this. There's not one bad actor or actress in this movie. Oh, well, you might as well say it's a movie. It's over 4 parts, and she's an okay actress, Chris. It's just Clara that I think is Roby. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the exterior shots in this. It's
Yeah.
really good, and this is them in Southampton, just disembarking for the voyage. I mean, look at the hull and everything like that, and the detailing of it. They're quite spot on. I mean, the detail that went into creating this miniseries. I mean, the money that they must have spent in it and that. And
Yeah, they certainly did throw money at it. I'll say that. Um,
I look at the interior of the corridors and all that, and I'm assuming this is Scotland Yard they're walking down. No, Scotland Road they're walking down, because you can see the pipes at the top.
mm,
The pipes at the top are exposed, and it's a big, long, mile-long corridor of Titanic, and it kind of leads to the
I
accommodation in
love
third
that line that
class.
his brother would say. He's not going to like you for cheating him out of a ticket, and he goes, "Well, he'll live." And little did
Yeah,
he know that that was ironic, that line,
yeah,
because
yeah,
literally they did save your man's life by
yeah.
cheating him out of his ticket. I don't know why this wife is giving him the looks every time, but
Mm.
she's gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
just
look
something
at the
about
cabin. They're very, very cramped in that, but the conditions were really good. I mean, especially for the third class. I mean, the third class were kind of treated on, and they were treated well on Titanic, and they had the best of food
yeah,
for the
considering
voyage.
that other ships of its day,
Yeah.
not so much.
I mean, that's what the young girls did on Titanic. They did have the abilities to do anything like sew and bake and clean, and that they were all a part of their housekeeping jobs, and that's how they kind of attended to the first and second class. And imagine that they never had washing machines back in the days, and to how their clothes were very pristinely sharp and clean and that for the entire voyage of the Titanic.
Yeah, but for this one, Daniel, though, I have to be honest, right? It wasn't historically accurate.
Yeah.
This one wasn't. There was some stuff that was obviously historically accurate that they have to stick with.
Yeah.
Obviously, thinking hitting the iceberg. And some of the characters in it are genuine characters, but it
Yeah.
kind of focused mostly on the non-historical characters. So from that standpoint, no, it's not historically accurate, but you get
I
enough.
mean, there was no time on Titanic for the time that it was to develop a relationship or anything like that. I mean, that's totally fictional, and even
Exactly.
the
Well,
James Cameron one is
fairness and
fictional.
well, but in those days, women and blokes did kind of fall in love with each other straight away.
Yeah,
It was, remember, and they stayed together and all. That's the weird thing. But I
I,
didn't
s- I s-
believe this relationship. I mean, I didn't
yeah,
believe the sexual tension between those two and all of that rubbish. Like
yeah,
I didn't get that. I know she's a nice looking Irish bird and all, but like, I
yeah,
don't think she'd even look 2 seconds at him. And even the way she's looking, she's guilty as fuck. If I was married to
yeah.
her, he'd say, what's your problem? Do you have the hots for this Italian or something?
Well, she's probably already had an affair with him, and
No, I don't think
it's
she's had an affair with him. I
yeah,
think she probably had an affair while the husband was off work, and I say she has
yeah,
had affairs
yeah,
because obviously as this goes on, we've already seen her. Like even though her husband catches her and she blames the Italian fella, she wanted that kiss to happen.
yeah. But I don't think that happened in Titanic's days because I mean the women were very dedicated to their families and their
Yeah,
husbands.
and the husbands exactly.
I mean, even to their deaths. I mean, they died off of very young. The women. I mean, if they caught a typhoid or any kind of disease or something like that, I mean, their lives they had virtually no means to get cure themselves and all that because they were that poor. And they were that hard working, and for what money they got, I mean, they got 30 shillings a week or something like that for just being a part of the workforce that was building Titanic. He seems a right creepy.
But this guy, right? This guy, is he? Because we never kind of figure out in this, right? So he obviously has a hard on for the Italian fella, right?
Yeah,
What I mean by that is he's on his scent, right? For anybody
yeah,
who doesn't know, it's an Irish saying hard on. It doesn't
yeah,
literally mean a hard on, right? I just want to actually explain that to the numpties out there, right? But he obviously knows who he is, or he has an idea. Was he
yeah.
an undercover cop?
Well, I suppose there would have been undercover police officers on the Titanic as well.
Because he don't really, because he obviously, if you watched last week, you see that he dies. So we would have spoke
Yeah,
about that, right? So he
yeah,
dies, right? He kills him, right?
yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Is he an undercover cop? Because we never really established that. Because he seems to know quite a bit about him. That's what I'm saying. What's this guy undercover cop? By the way, you'll notice the guy. He was also in Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Oh, not Doctor Who. He was in Torchwood.
yeah.
He was in the episode where the plane lands, where Owen falls in love with your woman, the pilot. He's in that episode as well. He's actually very good. Oh, Jenna Coleman.
Wow. I think she's really pretty, Jenna Coleman. I really do.
Oh, she is.
Look at the Titanic's bridge and all that, and the wing bridge. I mean, they've got that all spot on, and the I don't know if Titanic had blinds, for the windows. I don't know if that's accurate or not because I've never seen blinds on the Titanic, Venetian blinds. I thought it was just curtains that they had.
He was right though. He was right. Where's your loyalty? Like first class, second class, third class. Where about
Yeah,
your class? Spawn. Yes, come in. They were my favourite couple in this though. I have to
yeah.
be honest. Toby
And
Jones and his
and
wife.
towards the end, they knew
Oh
that.
no, I know. I feel so because they finally come to a place in their marriage where they're
Yeah,
like,
they
we've
really
been
love
fighting
each other.
each other for years.
Yeah,
Let's just spend a moment at the time with each other. And then he says, "Come on, if we're gonna die, basically, let's go down in their terms. Let's go down fighting." I
yeah.
love that. But I love the conversation. I always say it every week. I love the conversation between those two. It was very well acted.
Now this is mass aboard the Titanic. It's they're it's up by the first class and the second class and the third class all going to mass together.
Oh, we hear the priest, and it's probably not this one, but I think it's the last episode. The priest features heavily because the ship is going down. Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite sad.
I mean, the Titanic's very luxury for its time. It's very clean and it's very clinical. Most of the second class accommodations and the third class.
Yeah, I think that's why it was so famous, man.
Yeah.
The interior.
Well, they had some marvelous rooms on the Titanic, especially for the second class and the first class, because they had King Louis suites and all that, and loads of it was gilded edged fireplaces and all that, and gilded edged walls and all that, and the carving, the wood carving and that. It's in stained glass leaded windows and all that in first class.
Yeah. Daniel saying nice logo. You mean the Titanic one? Yeah, I do like it myself, Paul. I actually it's a screenshot of obviously the Titanic logo that they used. You'll see it in Real Super Doctors, but he has the poster
Yeah.
there with the ship in it. I just took the logo, but yeah, I like it. I do. I have to say I like the logo
There's
myself.
one thing about James Cameron's Titanic. It's a kind of like a kind of the doors and that they're not painted white, as you can see with the kind of iron the kind of frame in it. You kind of see them. They're kind of I think it's oak with a kind of a kind of varnish finish on it. Because I mean, the Titanic was a mixture of kind of woods and
Yeah,
all that, and
that's true. But look, I mean, the James Cameron one though, I have to be honest.
yeah,
Even though I don't like the romance crap,
yeah,
um, it's not actually a bad movie. The ship
no,
is
it's not.
amazing. I have to
Yeah,
say, the breakup of the ship is the most accurate that we ever gotten anyway of any
yeah,
Titanic movie. But now, as I said, I think there's time for another movie because, for the simple reason, we do know now that a fire that actually caused the sinking of Titanic. it wasn't the iceberg. And if
Yeah.
people want to know what I mean, yes, it did hit the iceberg, but there was a fire raging on that ship,
Yeah.
even when it was out, when it had passengers on it. That ship sailed with a full blown fire in one of its boiler rooms, and that fire was burning a long time before they even left Southampton. So it weakened the structure.
Yeah.
Right. So when it hit the iceberg, it wasn't a 300-foot gash as we've all
Yeah.
been led to believe. It was like Morse code, ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 little holes
Yeah.
that grew
The
into a
whole
big
the
one.
holes of in the Titanic were as thin as a finger, and
Yeah,
that's when the water kind of rushed in and
exactly. And the pressure
pushed
of
the
the
plates
water,
in.
exactly. And because, as if you watch Blood and Steel, that one, I
Yeah.
couldn't get through that one for the simple fact is it's too polished.
Yeah.
The actors and actresses in it I don't like, and I have to like
No,
the
I didn't
actors.
like Blood and Steel myself.
But I will say in the very first episode, there was
Yeah.
like they said, why are we using iron rivets than the
Yeah.
steel rivets that they were cutting corners? Now, even though it was a great ship and it got the best of stuff, as they say, and it had the best of steel, unfortunately, that steel was put together by iron rivets. So, if anybody knows anything about heat, basically what happened was is when the fire happened. Obviously, what happens when something's hot, it expands, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened when it hit the iceberg.
Yeah.
Bang! Right, it knocked the fucking it knocked the bloody
Bulkhead. It just
but yeah, it
it was
knocked
just
all those bolts out, right? So they all
yeah.
popped,
Yeah.
and that's what caused the sinking. That's
Yeah.
what caused the sinking. It wasn't actually the iceberg itself. It was
Yeah.
the fact that a fire had weakened the structure. If that had never have hit the iceberg, right? Say Titanic hadn't made it, right?
Yeah.
You would have put the fire out, everything would have settled down. Yet there still would have been damage, but they would have fixed that, you
Yeah.
know. And then that ship would have been perfect. Would have well, still flawed in the fact that it was using iron rivets
Yeah.
instead of steel rivets. But it did have the best of steel. That ship should
Yeah.
never have sunk. Now they know why. It was nothing to do with the steel. It was
Yeah.
do with the iron rivets.
And they knew back then at the time because that's why. Well, that's mostly one of the reasons Alexander Carlisle gave up in it because
Yeah,
he knew that there were so many flaws with that ship, and because that ship was, say, over 30,000 tons of grossage tonnage, and because of the amount of passengers it was taking on board, and because of the lack of the lifeboats that were designated to that,
I know.
because of the board of the British Board of
Board of
Trade.
Trade, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
they had a cert. Yeah, but
yeah,
again, here's the fucking sickening thing about it.
yeah,
Even though they did get rid of lifeboats, they were still
yeah,
within the means of the amount of lifeboats that they needed to actually pass the safety standards
yeah.
of the time. That was the fucked up thing about it. Like they
And
literally
even the
knew.
lifeboats were flawed as well because there was reports of survivors saying that their boats were flooding as well because they were taking the weight of the passengers that were on them. I mean, there was lots of flaws throughout that ship. There was no doubt about it.
Sure, there's even a line in all of the movies nearly.
Yeah,
And it's always about the lifeboats. They always
yeah,
do. Why haven't you filled up the lifeboats? Well, they haven't been properly tested yet. They weren't. Even the sea trials, they rushed the sea trials because
yeah,
remember, this was at a time when Olympic had its crash and was out of commission. So
yeah,
White Star Line were all losing money.
yeah,
So and they couldn't get insurance for the Olympic. So they had to Titanic had to sail. It had to. And it had to be it had to basically be a success.
yeah,
But obviously we do know what happened. Um, the ironic thing is, it's its sister ship, Olympic, uh, ended up surviving and obviously going on to have a full life at sea before it was obviously sent to the scrapyard. We all know what happened to Titanic. That was
Yeah.
unfortunate, but that ship even sank faster than Titanic. I didn't like the James Cameron movie, too much romance and stuff. You don't need
Yeah.
all of that. But then again, I'm just fussy. Yeah, but I will say this, right? Even if you're not a fan of that movie, if you watch that movie and then you watch all the stuff where
Yeah.
for the 100th anniversary he actually went down to the wreck. They have some brilliant documentaries that James Cameron did down at the wreck site. So if you're not a fan of the movie, go and check out his other stuff, where he goes down to the wreck in the subs,
Yeah.
and he has a look at the wreck, and they actually get high definition pictures inside the ship. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Seriously. And my
And there's
advice is, guys, lap it up. Lap it
and
up.
there's an expedition right now on the Titanic wreck. Ocean Gate expeditions are going down to do a complete survey of the wreck now.
Yeah.
They've already been down maybe last
You
month,
know why this
and they've
survey is
taken
happening though, John, don't you? You know
hmm?
why the survey is happening now, don't you?
Yeah, because of the disintegration of the wreck.
Exactly. So they're going down to check.
Yeah,
They're going down to check now
yeah.
how bad it actually is, and then they'll give us an estimate of when they think the wreck will.
See, I think James Cameron's spot on because of the hull. The hull will survive another 100 years, but the rest of the ship will just basically disintegrate, and it'll just be the hull that survives.
Jesus, I put up a tweet of a certain Mister You Know Who on Twitter, and I
Beardy
tell you
beardy.
the reaction of people, um, because he's deliberately putting up posts to antagonize,
Yeah.
and I just wrote up, "Oh, so you're doing a video on a hashtag? That's something." Because he said he was thinking of doing a video on the Not My Doctors, right? And I said, "Oh, so you're doing a video on the hashtag?" Because there's no such thing. I don't know how many times I have to keep telling that moron anyway. Uh, Not My Doctor was a hashtag, right? It was a hashtag that
The Not
most
My Doctors was just
use,
taken over by trolls.
right? But he's deliberately putting these posts out, right?
Yeah.
But like this was it. Tempted to make a video about the Not My Doctors if they held themselves to any sort of ideological standard or consistency would load seasons 24 to 26 the Seven Doctors run. There are so many creative and practical parallels that it might be interesting to line them side by side. He's just looking for an excuse. He needs to put Not My Doctor in the title of a video that he does to get the views, because that's the only
Yeah.
way he's going to get views. Because nobody watches. Look at his channel, it's dead. Doesn't matter what he does. The odd video you might get a couple of thousand watching. But overall, his channel's dead for the subs that he has, and he knows it. So he goes along with this rubbish. Because like all those other little YouTubers, anytime they mention Not My Doctors, they know that their viewers will go up.
Yeah.
But Daniel, yeah, getting back to Titanic, because I don't want to concentrate a little more on like that.
Yeah.
Go and
So
watch those
they're basically in the
documentaries on the
second class
website.
dining room here.
Go and there's a. Have you seen that one, John, where they did the I think it was on the National Geographic. I don't know now, could be wrong,
Yeah.
but one of those big stages where they drained the water.
Yeah, during the Titanic, that was I think it was in 2015 or
Yeah. But
2016
wasn't that
they done that
brilliant?
one.
Because your man from Harland and Wolf and all was there, but they literally
Yeah.
drained the
Yeah.
water and they showed the wreck, the way it was sitting, and it was man.
Yeah, I believe his name's Livingston, that worked for Harland and Wolff, and he passed away a few years ago, I think.
Yeah, I think he was the guy that proved that it was Titanic.
Yeah,
Actually,
David
there's
Livingston, his
always
name
been
was.
this thing about propeller blade. But
Yeah.
you did say something last week, actually.
Yeah,
Remember,
I was
you actually
thinking,
say, what if a propeller blade actually did flip
yeah,
off before it
contribute
hit
to
you?
the sinking.
Yeah,
Well, what I was actually thinking is because the iceberg, as you know, the iceberg's breaking up because of the heat during the day, and it's rolling over and it's breaking up. But what if Titanic, before it came into the path of the iceberg, a block of ice was just flowing in its path and gets sucked
yeah, and
into
through the propeller blade.
one into its left propeller blade, threw it off
And that's
just
why they
before
couldn't make
collision,
the ship fast enough. Yeah, it would
and
make sense. It would
the
make
ship
sense.
because the crew would have known, because the crew worked hard to kind of make sure that ship would turn, and it didn't turn. So because it had a small rudder as well,
Yeah,
but
sure. Yeah, go on,
they
John.
knew. They must have knew because Robert Hitchens was at the wheel at the time, and Moody and Murdoch was in the bridge at the time, and they got the call from the crow's nest. Reginald Lee and Frederick Fleet spotted the iceberg,
Well,
so they had enough time to kind of divert away from it.
see,
So
that's the
David
thing that's
knew,
always been puzzling, right? Everybody has always blamed the small rudder that
yeah,
Titanic had.
yeah,
That's why it didn't move as fast. But
yeah,
what if it actually did throw a propeller blade before it hit that iceberg? And he
yeah,
did
because
bring it all the way to starboard. So that ship should have, you're right, that ship should have turned, even with that small rudder, that ship at the speed it was going should have turned pretty fast. But
yeah.
it didn't. It didn't. And maybe that's why it didn't.
Because on
Was it
that
the
course,
propeller
the
blade
iceberg
missing?
was there.
Isn't there a
The would
propeller
be
blade
ice in the
missing?
water.
Wasn't there a propeller blade missing? They found it though, but wasn't there a propeller blade missing? It was
There
miles away
was
from
the
the ship.
propeller blade missing from the left hand side of the aft propeller. There's one missing. You can see it. You can see that the other two are embedded, and then one sticking up, and the one that's missing, you can see that it's been sheared off.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute, right? Just give us a few minutes. You just keep talking there anyway, yeah?
You can see the propellers completely sheared off, but it was found. I think it was found by Jacques Cousteau. I'm not so sure, but before the Titanic was discovered, because there was something about that I can remember. But he never found the Titanic, but he found a propeller blade, which could actually have belonged to the Titanic. But it was not until 1985 before Robert Ballard went down and eventually found the Titanic. What he'd done was he'd realised that the Titanic, when it was on the surface, when it was sinking and breaking up on the surface, he'd realised that all the contents on the surface would create a trail. So when he was scanning the ocean, the ocean floor with the Argo, he was coming across the trail, a debris that was left from the Titanic as it sank, and the debris that was lying on the ocean floor led them to the boiler, and that's when they discovered that they were on the path to find the Titanic, because he realised what happened at that depth with the two Russian submersibles called the Scorpion and the Thresher. Because that's exactly what Robert Ballard was searching for at that time, was these two submarines. And when he found the two submarines, it gave him the idea to search for the Titanic. And he was basically wanting to search for the Titanic because it was basically in the same position. And because the sinking of the two submarines, because they blew apart, and there would be a trail of debris across the ocean, and that's exactly what the trail he would kind of search for. So that basically gave him the idea for Titanic and gave him the ability to kind of go and search for the Titanic and find the remains of the wreck of the Titanic. and then what came against was a huge wall of steel, and they basically had described that they found the Titanic, and the following year they went down with submersibles, and with the Jason Jr. And the Alvin submarine and the Jason Jr. and they had filmed Titanic, and there's a documentary upon the discovery and the filming of Titanic, and it's a STV ITV production. Right, we're now actually in the point of where the iceberg has hit the Titanic, and it's coming into the boiler rooms, and the stokers are trying to kind of clear the boilers. And at this moment, the Titanic's going down again, and we're back to all the chaos. We're at the second class passengers are trying to get up on deck as well at this point. So the second class jewellery was kept with the first class jewellery at the purser's office. So basically, the women were scrambling to get their personal belongings. Because back in the day, they would take absolutely everything with them. They would take their whole life with them, just to go abroad. I mean, they would take all their suitcases and their clothes and their personal belongings. And the most saddest thing of all is the first class and the third class and second class belongings. You can see them all scattered across the seabed of where the Titanic had came to rest. So basically, that they've got all their lives, and they want to take this. They want to take this to New York and start a new life away from England. You've got the Irish and you've got the English. The Irish came on at Cobh at Queenstown back then, and they came on and on board then, and they took all their personal belongings which they had with them, and the personal belongings they had was their life, and that's all they had in life, and they have lost that in the sinking of the Titanic. And there's also a rumour that the Titanic had started up again after its collision with the iceberg. It didn't come to a complete halt. It started up again, and when they realised that the Titanic,
that the Titanic, the captain,
yeah,
ordered, that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, so they started the ship up again, and they realised that it was taking on more water. So then they just they put the ship to a complete halt and just let it sit and let the process of going to lifeboats. So it took 2 hours and 25 minutes for the Titanic to sink. Well, the Titanic had about an hour and a half. And you're talking about 30 minutes, or maybe even more, for complete evacuation. And there was people still trapped in decks when the ship was sinking, and they didn't get to the lifeboats in time. So many of the passengers that got away from first class and from second class, and only a handful from steerage. And the resulting was 1,523 lives lost in the Titanic disaster that night. There was no alarm on Titanic. There was no panic until the very last minute when they realised all the lifeboats are gone and the ship was going down. Until the very end, until they had to, they eventually, most of the passengers that were still aboard the Titanic eventually crawled up through the decks to where they all mustered and saw no lifeboats there, and the ship was badly sinking. They went to the stern and they climbed onto the stern as it went down. So this is the scene with the Italian man and the policeman. So he basically does them in. And he kills them. So most of that story is kind of fabricated in fiction and based upon reality. And here we have the Allison family. They're still on board with their child, and they were supposed to have went into lifeboat, but the woman that was a part of their maids was called Alice Cleaver, who had been I think she'd been previous conviction of having her child and thrown it off a train. And she was hired by the Allison family because back then that these maids had to find work because in order to survive and that. So they basically went on with the Titanics for the maiden voyage. So Alice took the child and went into a lifeboat with the child, while the Allison family had been left on the Titanic to die, which is very sad. And on the wreck, we see that the gates in third class are closed that separate the third class from the second class. We see these iron gates closed. So we know exactly what really happened on the Titanic. They weren't open. So the ones that were held in there probably just were held in there until the ship sank. So basically what was happening there was stewards were even held because of the panic, and towards the end. So it was a horrible situation towards the end when they started to panic, and the officers had taken guns just to fire. They didn't fire at any passengers. They fired them just to kind of calm and bring order to the passengers.
John, we're just a timestamp. We on 43 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, we're in 43 minutes and 6 seconds, and I'm talking about the
Right,
chaos
yeah,
on board
no, we're
Titanic.
level. I just came in and I saw my controller. I just had to go
Yeah.
next door real quick, but yeah. The next week's episode is where all the sadness happens. Well, it is all pretty sad, but next week,
Yeah.
the father and the daughter, it's bleeding horrible. But as you can tell, John does most of the talking on these streams because he obviously, like myself, is an absolute fan of
Yeah.
Titanic. So I hope you are enjoying some of the information that he's giving us because, you know, we really do put a lot of effort into these streams.
So this is them at the bow section of the Titanic. They've got the complete decks right. And I was at Belfast in 2013 down at the Titanic Memorial, and you could see that the entire wall dedicated to all the Titanic's deads, the whole list of all the passengers that died on Titanic. And it's incredible. It really is. The amount of people that died on that ship that night.
Oh, Kiss Me in New York. She never gets the chance.
Well, at that moment, the Carpathia is trying its best to get to Titanic, and it's at full speed. And it's at that point Captain Rostron of the Carpathia knows that he's putting his own vessel at risk because of the ice field, just to come to the aid of the Titanic and get as much passengers as saved as he possibly can. But he knew that there was going to be a lot of death and a lot of casualty. So the predicament that Captain Rostron was in, it must have been something. So this is the Italian boilerman and the steward, his brother. He's locked in, and his brother's trying to get him out.
Actually, if this episode doesn't end,
yeah,
probably to me this episode ends in a couple of seconds. But
yeah.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah,
that's the way this one ends.
Yeah.
Well, next week we will have the grand finale, and it is very powerful, as they said. It's
the sinking.
It's very sad. Very, very sad, I have to say. There's a couple of scenes in it that break your heart, but
yeah,
you know, that was the realization. That's what was happening. I think I'm at the poisoning myself, by the way, folks. I feel that, yeah, because I was in a hurry of taking it out. I think I might have a bit of undercooked me, so my stomach is doing somersaults here right at the moment. So we'll get straight into it. If everybody in the chat that's still watching, we see that there's 6 people watching. If you have been watching along with us and you'd like to give your rating for this particular episode, please do. But without further ado, I will ask John to give his rating. So, John, what would you rate this episode out of 10?
Well, I would give it I think I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is 8. Next week is definitely a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Have to be
Next
honest.
week's more interesting because it really gets into the sinking.
Yeah, and obviously it deals a lot more with the characters and
Yeah,
stuff like that as well. But it has been building up quite nicely, I have to say. It's showed all the main characters in each episode so far, and now it all comes down to this last episode. And I have to tell you, if you have a heart, which I do, which John does, but if you have a heart, this next week's episode is very powerful,
yeah,
heartbreaking. The scene with the daughter and the father, the Irish fella whose wife has been knocking off with the Italian fella. That's a heartbreaking scene, absolutely. And there's some other heartbreaking scenes to come up, but it really comes together for the final episode. So listen, I'm gonna leave it there. These
yeah,
streams will be short anyway, just in case I get sick or I don't want to get sick while I'm live on stream. But I want to thank John yet again for joining me, Chris and Daniel, everybody else that has come in today. I want to thank you for joining us for the streams that we've done. As I said, next week, myself and John will be back for Titanic. We'll see what I'm doing as well on Wednesday. I'll see if anything pops up. If not, I'll think of something. If not, me and John have already had a chat while we went off air. What movie we would like to do if we're going to do another movie, which hasn't been decided yet. I'll see. Look, I'll see how it goes this weekend and into next week, and see how everything goes, and we'll see how the critters one goes, and if the numbers justify us coming back to do another movie stream, well, then we'll be back with the Gremlins. That's the movie we've decided that we're going to do. So if there is a movie stream next Wednesday, or I might move it around to a different day, because Mondays and Tuesdays we don't really do art, and so maybe do it on Monday. I don't
yeah,
know. Actually, John, would you be up for that? Would Mondays be better for you?
yeah. Mondays would be fine for me.
I think we'll do Mondays and then we do Titanic on Wednesday. And then I'll tell
Yeah,
you what we'll do then is we said we were going to look into other Titanic stuff and see what there is.
yeah.
Right? So
Because I
we'll
think that's what's drawing in your audience. Because it's not the movie streams. Well, the Titanic, Race the Titanic, drew in quite a good
it
audience.
did. It did. We still haven't watched, we could watch SOS Titanic. We could do that one.
Yeah,
So leave it with us. Leave it with us anyway. I'm not going to make grandiose promises now. Right now, as I said, I have to think about things, other things to do, just to help the channel along a little bit. We're actually, if it's correct, because YouTube and Google say two different things. So according to Google, I have 1,950 subscribers, which means we're 50 subscribers away from making the 2,000 mark. So
wow.
let's see if we can get up to 2,000. That would be absolutely fantastic. I'd be over the moon. I never thought I'd even get 10, let alone the amount of people that we have supporting the channel. So I want to thank everybody. But again, I want to thank John, because John has been here every
Yeah,
time we've done a
no
movie
bother.
stream or a Titanic stream. It doesn't matter what we're doing. If I ask him to come on, he's always on. And if he can't come on, he always lets me know. So
No, would you check out the Critters stream? I mean, the ratings for it. You know how it had 48 dislikes?
yeah,
We're down to 2 likes.
down. Hold on, I'll check now. Right, hold on, because I knew this was going to happen. You mean we're down to 2 dislikes?
No, we're down to 2 likes. No dislikes at all.
See, told you. That's what happens, man. It's the troll. It's
Yeah,
all those
yeah,
troll accounts. So while they're banging the dislike button all the time, it makes
yeah,
no difference, because as I said, that YouTube quickly removed them. So this is why I laugh
yeah,
at them, because they don't realize yeah, you might be disliking the stream, but you're adding to the views, which you
Yeah,
actually already have, because after an hour, it's had 42 views.
42 views. Yeah,
Yeah. So hold on, it's on pause. Yeah. So we've got 2 likes. So if you could do us a favor and go in and actually like the movie stream there, leave a comment as well. By the way, I tell you what, if you leave a comment in that critter stream, and if you guys want to suggest some movies that you think we should watch, yeah, let me know in that comment section there, and I'll have a word with John. As I said, we might shift it till Monday, because Mondays I don't really do that, and I'll just come on and I read a few articles, which just be
yeah,
great. But I could do that on Tuesday, so there's no big deal there.
yeah.
So if there is any movies that you'd like me and John to do, let me know, right?
I
And
think they're going for a Titanic stream as well.
right, yeah, and if there's any, we will. No, but listen, we'll do Gremlins, but we'll definitely do another Titanic stream. I promise you that.
Yeah,
Another Titanic movie. So we'll probably do SOS Titanic, or try find the Irish one that they did a few years back as well. I think that was in the color one. But I forget the names of it. But there's so many different. Actually, hold on, I'll be able to check now. Right, so
they've
I'll
done
tell
so
you what.
many. They've
Hold
done so
on.
many.
Yeah, Titanic movies, right? Hold on, I'm gonna Google it now, right? And we'll know which ones we've done. Right, so there is a movie called The Unsinkable Molly Brown, and then in
I don't
1980
think
we
I've
had
seen that.
Raise the Titanic.
Seen that.
No, that's not all the movies. Oh, these were the ones that were released in the cinema. Okay, but we're not necessarily just looking for the ones. Right, 11 movies about Titanic you probably never heard of, right? Which me and John probably have, because we know everything there is to know about this ship. So you've got Saved from Titanic in 1912. Wow. Then you had this is, I think that's a German movie. It's a silent movie about Titanic that was also made in
Yeah,
1912. Oh, I think this is when they were building the Titanic. Actually, you've got a movie called Atlantic,
yeah. That
1929.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
there
ahead.
was one movie, the very first Titanic movie actually starred Dorothy Gibson that was on the Titanic.
Yeah, you've got another one there as well in 1943. It was
Yeah,
called Titanic. That was out in
yeah,
1943. There's a trailer there on YouTube for that one. I might check that out. In 1941, Joseph. Oh, okay. It was a it was a Joseph Goebbels movie. Adolf Hitler's propaganda minister decided to create a big budget movie about the Titanic, and it's called Titanic, and it was released in
yeah,
1943. Right. Um. Then in 1953, we had Titanic. I think that might be the one I'm talking about. Then you have A Night to Remember, which we did.
yeah,
SOS Titanic, that was in 1979, the year I was born.
yeah,
Obviously, raised the Titanic there. And The Chambermaid on the Titanic, that was in 1998. Titanic, The Legend Goes On in 2001.
You really don't want to see that Titanic cartoon series. Really, you
That's the
don't.
one. That's the one.
Oh
And
God,
we've
it's
got
that bad.
Titanic 2, by the way. Titanic 2.
I don't like Titanic too.
It's actually ridiculous, but it's obviously it's an updated version of the Titanic that's supposed to be unsinkable.
Yeah, and
Then
it's
what happens
actually the
is
Queen Mary.
a big block of ice falls in the
Yeah,
Antarctic or something, and it causes a big fucking tsunami wave. And I watched it. It's shit. Yeah, it's. But there's loads. Look, there's plenty of stuff on Titanic to be done, so we'll do it. Someone says Godzilla versus Titanic.
Oh.
Oh, well, I've never seen that movie now. That would be that'd probably be a good one to watch actually for the laugh. Uh, uh, as I said, me and John will be willing to do them. I might shift the movie stream till Monday. We're going to finish our Titanic series on Wednesday. We've got one more episode, then that frees up Wednesday. And then we'll see. I can do something Wednesday. So I might shift things around actually instead of getting rid of the movie stream completely. But we'll do that, right? So we'll do Gremlins, and then I want your suggestions in the chat, right? Go to the Critters movie stream, or even go into the comment section of this stream and let us know if there's any movies, not necessarily Titanic. We know the Titanic movies that are out there, but if there are any other movies that you'd like us to do, go and check out the list of movies that we've done already. There's a playlist for the movie zone. Go and check it out. You'll see the type of movies that we want to do. We want to do popular movies, right?
Yeah.
So, John even said to me off air, Jesus, I can't believe I picked that fucking Craic movie. But we won't be picking shit like that again. I can promise you that. It's just John wanted to see it for nostalgia reasons. And to be honest with you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I mean, I gave it more than what I said I was gonna give it. So it kind of did exceed my expectations just a little bit. But if there is any movies that you want us to do, let us know. We've already done Back to the Future. So what happens is when we do a movie like Back to the Future, I do say we can do sequels as well if you want it, but we don't start off with sequels. We have to do the first part before we can do sequels. Now,
Yeah.
in saying that, we have done Ghostbusters, so we
Yeah.
can do Ghostbusters too, John.
Yeah, that's a good idea because Ghostbusters 2 is not really a bad film. I mean, it's
It's
got its
not. I
moments.
don't know why it gets all the hate. Listen, that was the Ghostbusters movie that I was old enough to remember,
Yeah.
right? Because I was a little bit older. I was still a kid,
Yeah.
but I was a little bit older. Whereas Ghostbusters, the original, I was a kid. So
Yeah.
my memory of that wasn't great. But obviously I've watched it throughout my childhood because it's been repeated so many times, and
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
I mean, when I first saw Ghostbusters 1, the original one, I was terrified of it because I was only a kid when it came out. But I was interested in it, but I was really scared of it because of the ghost concepts and all
Yeah,
that. And
there
then
you
when I
go.
saw the real Ghostbusters cartoon, I was
Yeah, I love.
completely mesmerized by it.
Yeah, I love the real Ghostbusters cartoon as well. Here we got Godzilla versus Titanic off of Dave G Sound. So I just want to mention because he's popped into the chat, but he's also suggested Brazil as well. So good choices there. Remember, as I said, put them in the comment section. They're the last movie or this here, and we'll take them into consideration. We will get through as many as we can. But also remember, we'll be picking movies as well, so everybody will get a chance at some stage because this can go on for the foreseeable future. These movie streams, if we leave them on a Monday, get your suggestions in. Now, don't forget tomorrow. I have a very special. Actually, I have two very special guests joining me. I hope I don't mess it up because I heard Andre is very professional, so I'll have to be as professional as I can because I don't want to let them down. But I'm gonna have Tom Connors and Andre from Midnight's Edge on tomorrow, and we're going to be talking Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we're also going to be talking about the new Spider-Man trailer. Now, the reason why we're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife is because there's been early reviews done. So apparently, a few journalists got to watch this movie, and they said, and I have to say, by looking at the reviews, I think it's time for us all to get excited.
Yeah,
Really excited. He said
really
if
is.
you're a fan of the original, there's plenty there for you. And it does move the franchise on for the next generation. And you know what? That's all we ever wanted for the third Ghostbusters movie. That's all we've ever wanted. And
Yeah,
apparently he does Jason Reitman has done a great job. So
Well, basically, Jason Reitman's taken over his father's legacy.
yeah, and his father was there, which was interesting that
Yeah,
he put up photographs of him and his father looking at
yeah,
what he was filming. So that was interesting as well. Look, I'm excited for this movie. Everybody knows Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is one of the movies I've been really waiting on. I just hope now it doesn't suck, because
yeah,
I'll tell you why. If this movie isn't as good as the critics have made it out to be, then it's over for the franchise, and
yeah.
that's the bottom line.
I
It's
think
over.
that Sony has realised, because of their 2016 flop, they weren't giving the fans what they were wanting, and now they've thought that maybe they made a mistake with what they've done, and they've done with the actors, and maybe what they'll do now is
Not necessarily, because apparently, there's a rumor flying about that they might still resurrect the female one, but
oh
keep
no,
it as a separate universe away from this one. Um, and I have seen a lot of the Ghostbusters 2016 fans that actually did like the movie give out
yeah,
about Afterlife and slag it off and try to dislike the trailer. But unfortunately for them, it was overwhelmingly loved and liked.
yeah,
This movie has all the feels of a Ghostbusters movie. The one thing that's missing from me about the two trailers that we've seen is dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun,
the music,
is the music. We
yeah,
haven't got the music yet, right? And that's what I suppose, though people will say, well, it's modern day and all that worked for the 80s. You probably do have a point, but I'm hoping at some stage they can rope that music in somehow. Someone did put the old music on the trailer, and it doesn't
yeah.
fit. It doesn't fit. It's not actually good with that music, to be honest with the Ghost, but it's better with the music that they use. But I'm
See, I
hoping.
think what will happen is that they'll have that music as the intro, and they will have music bands in it as well. Like,
I
you
hope
know
so.
how we got Bobby Brown in that for
Yeah,
Ghostbusters 2. I
Ghostbusters
think
too.
I
Yeah,
think I think I think the music for that is really underrated because it's really good. Bobby Brown's really good.
yeah, he is. He might be a piece of shit, but his
Yeah,
music was great. His
yeah,
music was great. I blame him for Whitney Houston's death anyway. So I'm a
yeah,
Whitney Houston fan. So we won't go there, but yeah. But look, as I said, tomorrow I'll have apparently it's half of Midnight's Edge. So I'll have Andre and I'll have Tom on with me tomorrow. And as I said, we're going to be talking. John, why don't you be in the chat there? And because we're going to be talking Ghostbusters, and I know you're a
yeah. I
fan
will be because
of that.
I'm a kind of big fan of Ghostbusters
Yeah,
anyway.
9 o'clock UK time or Irish time, whatever which way you want to put it. 9 my time. So come and join us for that. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to leave it there because, as I said, my stomach is
Yeah,
playing somersaults now, and I just don't want to get sick because I feel like I'm going to right now. But listen, John, thanks for joining me. I'll see you for the watch-alongs for the
yeah,
Doctor Who
yeah,
watch-alongs. For now, I'm going to say good night to you all. Don't forget, Noel, they might show a YouTube video of it similar to what they did with the commercial Egon. Yeah, hopefully that's how they rope it in
yeah,
somehow. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That'll be the only way it probably work. But you never know. They might have updated the music and it might sound deadly.
yeah,
Look, gonna leave it there, guys. I really have to. I'd love to chat again for a bit more. But listen, check out later on. Obviously, if I don't get any worse, I will have two John Barrowman. A couple of people have sent me some of their artwork, so I'll be throwing up. I'll be throwing up some John Barrowman stuff, and we have a hashtag. We stand with John Barrowman. That's the hashtag. So if you want to get a hashtag, and you'll see it's already up on my Twitter account to support them. Dave G Sound says, thanks for streaming, guys. No problem. I'll see you all tomorrow. I will leave you with our current campaign, which is hashtag Shane for 14. Thank you for joining us for this, and come back to us next week for the finale. It's going to be an emotional one, I have to say. And we'll see you soon, folks. Good night. God bless. Look after
Good night.
yourselves and stay safe. Bye bye.